Ahoy!
Welcome back to Girl Historians.
I'm Carley.
I'm Blair.
And this is the comedy podcast where we talk about history and our girls.
And after a hiatus of upwards of 14 episodes, we're finally getting back to the 6 wives of Henry VIII.
Kind of crazy.
You guys thought we forgot?
No. I literally the other day, I'll say my partner Reese, but I feel like if you've listened, you know that my partner's name is Reese. He was like, "What are you guys doing now that the Tudors are done?" And I was like, "Oh, we're not done.
we're not even halfway, baby."
No, we just had to do icons.
We had to do 12 icons, which was 11 icons, and we had to add a 10th icon, and then we had to do Santa Claus.
We had to.
It's a new thing called following your heart.
And we're obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And we're kind of pioneering.
And I'm wondering, like, when we title the episodes, should we put, like, would it help you, the listeners, speaking to the listeners, would it help you if we put, like, the Tudors, like, in front of so you can follow it along?
Yeah.
Just questions for the class.
That's a good question.
That's a good question for the class. Anyway, we're doing Anna Cleves this week, and I think she's my favorite, so I'm pretty excited.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
When we saw 6, the Anne of Cleves was an understudy.
Yeah.
And in the last song, she forgot all the words.
It was awesome.
And she started and then because I guess she was like a swing actually. So she started, I think, singing the Catherine of Aragon part, but in the Anne of Cleves part of the song.
Yeah.
And then she just like sang part of it and then went, "That is the wrong words," or whatever. And I was like, honestly, the fact that you did anything is very impressive. Because I probably would have been like, well, I don't know what to do now.
I could never swing on Broadway.
No.
I know that everyone was expecting me to say I could. I could never do it.
You don't have the same brain capacity as one Charlie D'Amelio.
No, absolutely not. Are
Is
you
she
kidding?
a swing or just on?
No, I think she's ensemble.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if she can swing either.
I don't know if she can swing either. I think learning one part is really hard for me. My favorite is, a princess track? Do you know what a princess track is? Oh my God. It's the best part for someone like me on Broadway,
a princess.
Which I will be one day, is a princess. It's where you just kind of like sit around backstage, go out, sing like one scene stealing song, and then you like leave.
Teen Angel in Greece.
Teen Angel. It's King George Hamilton.
Oh,
it's oh my God, there's so many like whoever like in Sondheim, like anytime there's like an older woman, it's like written for Patti LuPone to come out and just like do
belts
ladies
for
who lunch.
Yeah,
like you don't really work, you just come out and deliver and then you go sit backstage.
Yeah. When I was working at Second City, I was like a swing and would learn like all of the women's roles.
That's insane.
Which also like we don't need to see my take on the role of a black woman. Like they'd have to.
Hey, don't say that.
They had to cut the show in half when I was in because they're like, well, we can't do 7 sketches because Carley is white. Yeah. Listener, if you're listening to this and you don't know, I'm white. And I think I was good at it, but I didn't like it.
It's really
It's more fun than being an understudy. I think that's what it was. Of like understudy is kind of like you're just sitting hoping something happens. Where at least swing, you got lots to learn. Like you know what? And also you're kind of treated as a hero.
Well, yeah, one of my favorite types of videos on TikTok and et cetera, other video platforms, is when the swing is like, I just got called on mid-show. Yeah, and then they're like putting on the wig, putting on the outfit, and they're like, I'm about to go on. Love those videos. Yes. It's like someone just got sick at intermission, so I have to go on as this character.
Yeah, that's fun.
Oh, so cool. Second only to videos where a ballet dancer destroys their like new point shoes. I love those. Have you seen those videos?
I have.
I love those videos.
I follow this girl on Instagram or on YouTube, and every year she does like a Nutcracker vlog series where she's in the Nutcracker, but she's just a YouTuber, so it's kind of obvious when you watch. Like she's still obviously like a better ballet dancer than me. Like I'm not a dancer, but it's obvious that they kind of have her in because she brings followers. Because like every year it's just like an 8 vlog series of her sobbing because she can't do her jetés or whatever. Like because she's like so stressed about it, and it's the kind of thing of like. I think that you know, like any job is hard and you know what I mean? Like being an influencer is obviously a much easier job than most, but I hold space for being like, there's stressful parts of it, whatever. But you can tell somebody whose like brain has been melted by some kind of tough emotional job. And like a lot of actors are unhinged people. But like when the time comes to focus, they can focus.
Yeah, because they were servers in restaurants for years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where you can just kind of tell that I'm like, I think if you did this more than just the Nutcracker, even if it's like community ballet, I think
you would lose your mind.
Yeah. Or you would feel better because you're used to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like you just put so much pressure on like 3 shows a year.
Yeah, you would get the reps in.
Yeah, and because it's so much of it is just like mental stuff, right? Like
yeah, for
so much of succeeding in any performance like area is just being able to like not choke. That's like 70% of the job.
Well, and also just kind of like sticking with it. Like it's my roommate Sarah and I were talking about Maria Branford today, and she was like, the reason I think I succeeded was I just kind of like didn't give up. Yeah. And I just kind of kept doing it even when it made no sense for me to keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's like that really is life.
Just kind of keep doing it.
I do think I remember that video. Do you remember when Michaela, that makeup guru on TikTok, made that video where she was like, it's 5 p.m. and I just stopped working. Try being an influencer for a day.
No, but I'm obsessed.
Do you remember seeing? No,
I've never. Not to be like I'm different, but I'm really not.
No,
TikTok
not
is
TikTok.
a big
TikTok.
blind spot for me.
Well, because I think there have been a few times where you've gotten on TikTok. I've gotten kind of excited,
and then
you're off.
It immediately makes me feel so bad. Like I can feel the algorithm immediately melting my brain.
Yeah. Well, have you ever had a video of yours? Because I guess, I don't know if it really happens with YouTube, but have you ever gotten like a video of yours go like hit the algorithm of people that hate you?
Mm-hmm.
What
on Instagram as well. Like I've had that happen.
It only happened to me on Instagram.
I've had it happen on YouTube, and then when I used to make TikToks for the CBC, that would happen all the time. Ooh. And there's times where just like anytime a video goes viral on YouTube, you just are gonna get 70. It doesn't necessarily show you to the wrong side of the algorithm the way like TikTok would, because it's so algorithm based. Mm-hmm. But it'll just be like if 1 million people are seeing it, 30% of the comments are going to be like, you should kill yourself, I think.
Yeah. Horrifying.
Yeah.
It's a horrifying thing to happen.
You've had that happen a couple times on TikTok that's been like quite horrific.
I had one time where it happened really badly on Instagram, where I had a video go really viral.
Yeah.
And
were they saying you're Ed Sheeran? Wasn't there a time when they were saying you're Ed Sheeran?
Well, that's just kind of funny. Honestly, I'm like, I can't even blame them. I'm like, sometimes when people like drag you on the internet, I'm like, okay, that's actually...
It's a little funny.
Yeah, it's a little
funny.
Like I'm not, like you got me pretty good.
Yeah.
But there was one time where like it clearly just got put to like this like algorithm of just like incels who were just like calling me horrible names. I had to block like 1,000 different words.
Oh my God.
Not 1,000.
But I know what you mean.
I blocked, I think 62 different words because it was just being shown to like these men. It was actually crazy.
Yeah, I was watching this. I saw this like video on Instagram, and it's like of this girl that I follow because she does like comedy. And she was talking about like, I guess she did a character and then it got on the wrong side of TikTok. And she was like, this is being shown to like Republicans. And they keep commenting like that I'm fat. Like, I don't know that I'm fat. Like, why do I
care? You're giving me new information.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
And it's the same, which does happen on YouTube as well. It's like the same joke over and over and over again.
Absolutely.
And people like think they're being clever, but it's literally, I'm like, just scroll down. You will literally see 9 of the same joke.
Yeah.
Like, it's not smart.
No, it's not smart. It's not really funny. Like, you're just being annoying. And I know it is kind of like such a like anti-bullying thing to say, but it's like, oh, like you are kind of the loser. Like, I'm the one with a video getting seen by tons of people. Like,
well, and whenever that I get shit that's like, you're ugly, I'm always like, face reveal.
Yeah, like,
let's fucking see it.
What do you look like? Well, have you ever gotten like a comment saying like, you're ugly, go fuck yourself, and then the person DMs you privately being like, hey, you're really hot?
No.
I've had that happen.
That's nuts.
It's really psycho. Like, someone will leave me a hate comment and then I say they follow me and they've like sent me a DM.
That's insane.
It's actually mental illness.
That's
like
it's
actually crazy.
That is insane.
Anyway, now
you know that's like not interesting for other people, but that, or maybe it is. I don't know.
I think it's honestly,
I have no clue what's interesting for other people now. You know what I mean? I don't know what the normies like.
What are the normies like? I don't know if anyone who listens to this podcast
that's
is a normie.
Actually fucking true. Like, I don't like, I'm thinking about this as if this is the general population.
Yeah, no. we do not have a general population.
No.
Podcast.
No, we're niche over here.
If we did, I would jump into the lake.
Yes, and swim.
I would jump into the lake, and I would swim.
I would do
swim. Polar bear dip. Oof. Should get into polar bear dips.
You're like the 7th person to say this to me. Because I think they're saying it as a joke because it's like New Year's. There's always a big polar bear dip. Where if you don't know, this has got to be a thing worldwide. It's basically just like you get in the cold water. You go into the water on January 1st and it's Canada, so it's cold.
You can do it any day.
Yeah. That was a big thing. It was called the polar bear plunge, where I grew up in Maryland.
Yes.
And I was just like, I never want to do this. Like, this is the same way I feel about roller coasters.
You don't like roller coasters?
No. And horror movies, where I'm just like, I feel this way I already feel so uncomfortable and so overwhelmed. Like, I don't need to invite this into my life.
Yeah. I used to really like roller coasters. I still really like roller coasters, but lately I haven't been on one in a while. And lately I've been dealing with just like random bouts of vertigo.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how going on a roller coaster is gonna hit anymore.
Well, this is the thing, like your inner ear canal or whatever.
I gotta get that shit checked out.
You should, just in case. Realistically,
she's dammed up right now.
Yeah.
She's got to levy up.
Because like if you were saying when you came over that you've been like kind of just low key under the weather, it could be that. Because like I got a really bad ear infection from a sinus infection like in the pandemic, like 2021.
Yeah.
And like the last like 3 months have been the first time that I haven't like been like, oh, my ear canal is fucked up. Like it like takes that long to heal.
That's insane.
Do you know what I mean?
Ears
like,
are crazy.
What happened is because I didn't do anything about it, it like, I don't know, got damaged in some way.
Yeah.
And I had to like walk to the walk-in clinic that was literally like 5 minutes away from my parents' house. But like the world was spinning.
Ooh.
Like I was like, I didn't have an appointment, but I was like, I need to see a doctor.
I need help.
I'll sit here for an hour. Like I don't care. And yeah, it's like because it got like so infected, like it was just kind of like not like scarred, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was some kind of problem with it. It just took so long to heal that now, but like before a couple months ago, every time I got sick, it would like dam up. Not good.
But
it was fine. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like
that's fine.
There's
it's just
way worse shit that could happen.
That's true. No, I had a phone call appointment with my doctor. Okay, so I have a doctor now, and I'm obsessed with having a doctor. I didn't have a doctor for so long. I'm literally obsessed with my doctor now. We had a phone appointment the other day, and she was like, because I started Wellbutrin. She was like, how's Wellbutrin going? I'm like, it's good. I am extremely anxious because now that I'm not just like
depressed all the time,
lying in bed, I realize that I have really bad anxiety,
yeah,
which is embarrassing to admit at my age. But anyway, she was like, what kind of anxiety? I was like, well, like honestly, kind of like general, but also like specifically health. And she was like, okay, well, like, do you just want to tell me what it is? And I can tell you whether or not you should actually be worried about it. I was like, yes, please. Yeah. She's like, what's your problem? I was like, I have a globus. I have a big glob of something in my throat. It's blocking me from breathing and hearing. And she was like, okay, so I'm just going to say that's probably not what's happening.
Probably post-nasal drip.
Yeah. And she was like, I'm going to get you a nasal spray. And I was like, that's such a good idea.
Yeah.
I almost cried. I
love when my doctor is like, it's fine.
I love when my doctor calls me an idiot.
Yeah. She's like, nothing but love and light. You're okay.
Yeah. All my doctor has done is basically congratulate me for quitting vaping, which none of my friends have, first of all.
I didn't know you quit vaping.
I quit vaping.
You not to
you can out me.
But you have quit vaping before.
No, I quit vaping for real.
But this time you quit vaping for real.
I quit vaping for real.
Because
and I never quit vaping before.
That's what you would be like, I don't think I want to vape as much anymore.
Yeah. And then I'd still vape.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on quitting vaping.
I quit vaping for real.
Since when?
I quit in October.
Wow. I don't know how I missed this.
I just stopped vaping. That's kind of the thing though. Like when I want to stop doing something, I just stop doing it.
Yeah.
So I quit vaping and I used cigarettes to get off vaping. And everyone was like,
I actually do remember this. Yes.
Because everyone was making fun of me. And then when I told my doctor, she was like, you're doing the right thing. And then when I called her today, she was like, how much are you smoking? I was like, basically not at all, except for if I'm drunk and at the bar, or if I
which doesn't count.
Which literally doesn't count, guys. Don't let anyone tell you that it counts. I might cut that, but
yeah.
And then, or if I'm having like a really stressful day, I'll smoke half a cigarette.
That's great.
Or a quarter of a cigarette.
Hell
she was
yeah.
like, really good. Good job, Blair. And I was like, yes. And then she was like, you're not dying from a ball of metal in your throat.
Hell yeah.
So I love her.
My favorite thing to do, and this is so mean, but I'll do it to Ben a lot now because he smokes. It's like if we're outside afterwards, like at a bar or whatever, I'll be like, oh, can I actually, because I'll just go outside with people because I just want to hang. I'll be like, oh, can I actually have a cigarette?
Yeah.
And he'll give me one and light it up, and then I just throw it in the street.
It's like Brendan when I was vaping. He'd be like, oh, can I hit that? And then he put the entire vape in his mouth.
Oh my God. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's like a little shocking.
Yeah.
But then he pulled it on me like 3 times in a row. And I was
like,
like,
no
I gotta
more.
stop falling for this.
No more.
Once in university, my friend Ryan started smoking and he just like randomly one day picked, like, you know when your friend just like picks up smoking and you're sort of like, what year is it? So he just like picked up smoking one day, and so he bought a pack of cigarettes and we were out for a night and he was smoking a cigarette, and my friend Iris jumped on his back, took the cigarette out of his hand, threw it in the street, took the pack out of his hand, threw it in the garbage can, and then took out her phone and transferred him $15.
That's beautiful.
It was a good moment. And then he quit smoking.
So that was actually activism.
It is. It's active activism.
You know what I was just thinking when you were saying that?
Yeah.
So a little friendship insight to the podcast listeners. They're playing all of the David Fincher movies.
Huge.
In the theaters here in Toronto this like week or whatever. So we're going to see The Social Network after this. And we're going to get
I can't wait.
dinner.
Yeah.
Should we go to France?
Oh, I do love France. France does hit.
It's a diner. I just love dine. We famously love a diner.
Love a diner. I love a diner. I can go to France.
That's kind of in the area, right? Like
it
the
is.
one that's more like by Massey Hall.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the. Oh, I don't know which one I prefer.
I haven't been to the one. This is not interesting for anyone except people who've been to the two France locations in Toronto. I've been to the one on College Street only. Like I went in university, but hadn't gone for years and years, and then only went when Mrs. Beast went.
Yes.
I've been to the Franz one, the one that's by like Massey Hall a bit. If I'm going to a show at Massey Hall or like a show at, like the Winter Garden.
That's smart.
But that's it. But I love it. It's just too out of the way. Like both of them are too out of the way unless I'm in the area to go.
What's your favorite diner of all time? Do you have one?
That's a great question. I love all diners. I don't know if this counts as a diner, but I do like Skyline.
Skyline is awesome.
Really
Skyline
good.
counts as a diner.
Really, really good stuff there. George Street.
George Street is really good. There's one in Kingston called Tommy's, and it is for sure a Coke front.
But that's what the best diners are.
But it's great. And they have a bunch of like straight up inedible food.
And yeah.
Which is how I think it should be.
Yeah, a diner serves a purpose.
Exactly.
That's what I like about it, is it's like the coffee is fine. The eggs are fine.
I don't really care for Denny's that much.
No, I only been to Denny's once, the one that's 24 hours by Yonge and Dundas Square.
Yeah.
And we were so drunk and we did the Black Beatles challenge.
What's the Black
The
Beatles
mannequin
shit?
challenge? The Black Beetle, the mannequin challenge.
The mannequin challenge, yes.
And then Reese, it was literally 2 a.m. and Reese ordered a lasagna. And we talked about this. Like, somebody in the kitchen was like, fuck.
Who the fuck ordered the
Oh,
lasagna?
we went to the Denny's.
We did go to the Denny's.
That once, yeah.
That's just because it's kind of like a no man's land.
It's liminal.
Well, and with respect to you and my other vegan and vegetarian friends, I have a lot of them, and it's always like a little bit difficult to pick a restaurant when you're in a weird part of town.
Yes.
If you're in like a cool neighborhood, it's always easy to pick somewhere amazing to eat.
But if you're just in a weird area, you're like, what can you eat?
Exactly. It's like we're in tourist central. We can only go to the Denny's.
Yeah, and diners are great for that. I think we're kind of missing this in a big city that you get in the suburbs more, is like there is a benefit to a chain restaurant that has a 17-page menu.
I know.
Like surely nothing is good, but there's something for everyone, which I think is important.
I love sitting down at a Swiss Chalet. It's one of my like.
Were we the ones that were talking about going to Cheesecake Factory?
We were talking about. I've been talking about this with a few people lately. I feel like we gotta get a crew together for Cheesecake Factory.
I would love that. I love just big old menus.
Yeah.
Everything is fine. I haven't been to the Cheesecake Factory since I was in high school.
I've never been to the Cheesecake Factory.
It was a big thing for my cross country team.
Oh, that makes sense.
Run and then on Fridays be like, we're gonna go do a sleepover or whatever.
Go to the Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah. By the way, would you believe that everyone on the cross country team was a lesbian?
Shocking.
Not at the time, but everyone just kind of had like a one girl that they were closer to than everyone else.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I found out that everyone was gay.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have anyone. No one was being gay with me.
Oh, like they were like dating.
They were dating, but they didn't tell
that's
anyone.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And,
they just left you out.
They left me out.
They're just like, yeah, she's fine.
And I feel like, I don't remember exactly, but I feel like I was out at that point. Like,
yeah, so they like purposely,
like they
were like,
knew
no
I'd
one
be
get
down.
with Carley.
Like it wasn't a thing of like, oh, she's probably straight.
Yeah,
it was something else.
Yeah, they just like didn't like your personality.
Yeah, my vibes were bad.
Yeah, your vibes were off.
Which
they were
is
just
crazy.
Like, no. I guess that's different, but I was thinking about how like every queer woman has like a like homoerotic female friendship growing up that like absolutely traumatizes them.
Yeah, it's worse than any other relationship you could possibly have.
Like it's like you have the most traumatizing breakup with like a woman that like you never touched.
No.
And it's like awesome.
That's really cool.
That's really cool. I really like that.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting, and I feel like that's the thing I feel really bad for straight people about sometimes is like not a value in friendship in the same, maybe not always, but you see it sometimes. When I say straight, I don't even mean like straight in practice. I mean straight in vibe.
Straight in culture.
Yeah, straight culture. Because you can be gay, but heavily identify with straight culture.
Absolutely.
If you get married at Disney World, You identify as straight
that's
culture.
straight culture. Yeah.
You know, if you're posting like professional photographs, but one partner is in cargo pants and like wraparound reflective sunglasses.
That's straight culture.
That's straight culture. You know what I mean? You just see it.
You just see it. You have to call it like you see it.
Yes. And there seems to be in straight culture, it's kind of like, you know, it's your friend that gets with a partner and then you just like never see them again.
Yeah.
And they don't really value a friendship the same way they value a romantic relationship. And I'm like, I actually haven't really had very many bad romantic relationships go sour in the way that I have like a handful of women
who want me dead.
Yeah, and like we can't talk about it because like it's painful. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like nobody's the villain. It's just like I don't want to talk. I don't want to.
It hurts too much.
I don't know what happened. Like I genuinely don't even know what happened.
It just fell apart one day. It fell apart one day and it got bad and now we don't speak.
Like a relationship that like if that was an ex-partner, you'd be like, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
But it's just something we all have.
Do you know the song Cool by Gwen Stefani?
Yeah.
Where she goes over to like her ex like boyfriend's house and he's got like a new girlfriend or whatever. That's how it feels like reconnecting with like a woman who like you had a too intense friendship with. Yes. And now like you go and visit her and you're like, good luck, babe. You're good luck babe. All over the
I know. I'm good luck babing queer women. I'm in a relationship with a man, but I'm like, well, good luck babe. And they're like, no, that's not what this is. I'm like, it is.
Well, it's also like sometimes it is kind of like, I feel like we've talked about this before, but like I feel like every woman has like at least one woman they can point to in their life who's in the worst heterosexual relationship you've ever heard of in your life.
Absolutely.
And it's not even like it's bad in like a bad way.
No, it's not abusive. It's just like sucks. It just sucks.
Yeah.
It's just bad.
Yeah. Like
it's hard because I think like, you know, obviously you don't want anyone to ever be abused.
But at least then you can kill him.
Well, this is what I'm like. You can at least say like, hey, the ways in which he is treating you is wrong. And that might not be received. That's painful in its own different way.
Yeah.
But you can't just be like, your boyfriend's got rank vibes.
Yeah, your boyfriend is just like kind of
sucks.
The worst.
Well, we've talked about this. Like, there's just girls who only hang out with their boyfriends. And you're like, I want to see you, girl. And then they bring their boyfriend. And you're like, I don't really want to see. Like, I don't really want to
see Craig.
And Craig makes you happy?
Craig makes me miserable.
Craig is very boring.
Yeah, Craig
I
is
don't want to talk to Craig about his job, and he doesn't know how to talk to people about other stuff.
No.
Also, because of his, you know, traumatic past, there's 7 topics we're not allowed to talk about, and I don't remember them all, so it's a minefield of I don't know.
Because one of them's like aquariums, and it's just like kind of roguely floating in the world. Of
how am I going to forget? How am I going to remember to not bring up aquariums?
Yeah, like, oh my God, if you bring up Craig's going to cry.
That's why I'm saying, like, I can't.
I know one guy named Craig, and he's great.
I don't know any Craigs.
I know.
I know Craig. I know one Craig.
Oh, I know 3 Craigs.
He's an editor. He edits for like cool movies. I did improv with him like forever ago. I don't know what he's up. I don't know what Craig's up to these days, but
I follow him I saw him recently.
He seems to be doing well.
Yeah,
but I don't know anybody else named Craig.
I had a professor named Craig, and I know a guy named Craig, and he's my favorite Craig. The guy I know named Craig is my favorite Craig. My professor named Craig is interesting.
Most professors are.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't like dox him, but in my 4th year, he was supposed to direct like the big theater show the next year, and it was called I can't remember what it was, but it was like a musical about a rooster or something, and so we made fun of it in like at the end of the year. All the 4th years made a video. Just kind of like dressing up as the profs and making fun of them. That was like our big like senior thing for the class, whatever. And we made a video all about how like we were putting together the coxicle, and we just called it the coxicle so much that like everyone in the department started calling it the coxicle. Like, I can't wait for the coxicle next year. And then they canceled it. And he did a different show.
Oh no, you bullied him.
Yeah, we bullied him out of the coxicle. But like, dude, who does that? What was it even called? I can't even remember.
I don't know. This seems like a made-up musical about a rooster.
I know. Sometimes when I tell a story from my life, like, do you ever like tell a story from your life and you're like, that didn't happen?
Well, there's a lot of that. People who go to theater school, dude, will pull out some crazy stories being like, we were all 22.
Yeah.
But it's nuts.
Oh yeah, like the people who went to that, like, bless you, that theater school that made them like strip down in front of their classmates, and their classmates would pick out like the worst part of their body. Do you remember this? What school was that?
Is that in Toronto?
Yeah.
It's gotta be George Brown.
I feel like
it has to be George Brown.
It was George Brown.
I had a friend who went to George Brown, and he was like, yeah, like it wasn't that, but it was like crying. Like it'd be like you would have to get up in front of the class and talk about the worst thing in your life and cry or
that's
whatever.
A healthy thing to do.
And now he's a comedian, so like
works.
So there, look what you've done.
Look at that. The reverse happened.
Yes.
Yeah, theater school's crazy
Yeah,
and
people would just be
terrifying.
like, oh yeah, like for theater school, we were doing cabaret, but we were all dressing up as different races, and the teacher that was directing it, he died halfway through because he got hit by a train, and they didn't know if it was suicide or not. So then it was directed by his son, who was just like grieving and drunk all the time, and you're like, oh my god, why would you tell me that? Like,
that's not a fun story at all.
why did you say that like it was a fun story?
Yeah, don't even worry about it.
It's fine.
Don't even worry.
Justin Trudeau.
Oh my god, resigned. I watched
Prime
that.
Minister of Canada. I watched it too.
No one's talking about how all his papers blew off his stand right before he went up and talked. And he said, "I'll just wing it."
Really?
Or he said something like that.
He was really. I was surprised at how put together it was. I know that you like practice the shit out of that
For sure.
whatever, but so obviously if you live in Canada, and you're like a prime minister or a politician, you have to be bilingual. You have to speak French and English. But I was really impressed how he would so somebody would ask him a question in the Q&A portion, he'd answer it in English and then answer it in French word for word what he said. And I was like, bro, you had to remember everything. He had to remember.
No,
it wasn't just like the same idea. It was like he then translated word for word exactly what I was like, that's
insane.
Crazy.
That's such a skill. Bilingual people, like especially in Canada, where like anyone in politics
has to be
has to be bilingual. It actually is crazy to watch.
Yeah,
in a way where
it's a party trick.
It is like it's nuts. Like bilingual, like obviously like tons of people are bilingual. It's a skill that I don't have, and I'm so jealous of people that are bilingual. But like especially people who are trained in it at like a political level is completely, because I feel like a lot of times you'll meet like a bilingual person who like can like blend the languages kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like
there's a difference between like a trained bilingual person who like
and someone who just knows two languages.
Yes, exactly. Because they don't go back and forth. Like you talk to anybody from Quebec, it's like they start talking to you in English and then they just go into French and then back to English, and you're like, I think I got 80% of that, but I don't know.
Tabarnak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like a politician, bilingual.
Yeah, when you just like swap, it's crazy. I thought he did I thought it was good. Like he needed to step down. I think we were honestly like ultimately kind of unfair to him. I don't like him,
but he'll be fine. Like his legacy will be remembered as different from this. This happens with everyone. Like because there's no term limits. A Canadian prime minister, if they're not evil incarnate, will serve for 10 years, and then towards the end everyone would be like, I fucking hate this guy, and then he'll retire, and then people will remember later, will be like, oh, those years.
Yeah,
like they love Brian Mulroney. Like
I know, that's insane.
Everyone loves fucking Brian Mulroney. And like, what? I'm sorry, are we huffing glue?
What color's the sky?
Brian Mulroney? We're getting his take? Nuts to me.
Is he even still alive?
No, who's the other one that they always bring out? That's not
Stephen Harper?
No, I
do not like
even
that guy.
then they're not back on the Harper train.
I know. I honestly don't know. I love our parliamentary system.
Past Canadian prime ministers.
I do like how much the prime minister like doesn't control stuff that happens to me directly, which I really like.
It's like it's the Toronto mayor and us against the world, and that's it.
It's us and Olivia Chow.
Literally just us and Olivia Chow. Was it Jean Chrétien that they brought up? Is he dead? He's 90 years old.
Jesus Christ.
He was when was he prime minister? Not that long ago. He was prime minister in 2003. This is every American president, though. Every American president.
He's 1,000 years old.
So Jimmy Carter died. May he rest.
Oh my God. Did you see the picture of all the presidents at Jimmy Carter's funeral? Horrifying. Wait, I have to show you. It's literally Trump next to Obama, Kamala Harris like in front of them, next to Joe Biden, next to Joe Biden, next to George W. Bush, next to Hillary Clinton, next to Bill Clinton. It's terrifying.
Insane.
I'm like, what?
Because
the vibe?
So he died. He was like in his 90s.
Yeah, rest in peace.
The next oldest president is Joe Biden. He was in office. Everyone's drunk.
Wait, I have to show you this photo. It's actually terrifying.
Oh my God. This is like the Trump next to Obama is insane.
Like who put Trump next to Obama?
Like respectfully, that is insane.
So where's Michelle?
I know.
She just didn't show up. No, Like I'm
Pence is back there too. Like, don't seat these people next to each other.
Like spread them out. You gotta spread them out.
Spread them out.
You can't put Trump next to Obama. Like what?
Look at them. They're talking.
Are they talking? No, they're chatting. They're reading a hymn book or some shit.
Well, yeah, that's a real playbook thing of like, you know, if you're Obama, you're like, I've got to find just something to point at and talk about so we don't talk about anything else.
That's my skill too. It's like with my weird aunt, I'm like,
this is blue.
Look at this calendar they mailed me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's from my dentist.
Let's not talk about anything else. Shall we talk about what's her name?
Anne of Cleves.
My brain was like Catherine Pierce.
Who's Catherine Pierce?
The name I've made up.
No, that's like a name of someone. Catherine Pierce.
Well, it
That's
sounds
gotta
like a
be
real
someone.
name, but I don't think it's like a Tudor.
Anne of
Do you
Cleves.
think if I look up Catherine Pierce?
AKA Anna von Cleve. It's so interesting. So
Oh, I think it's somebody from the Vampire Diaries.
that would make sense. Nina Dobrev went to my high school. I was not there at the time.
Yes, well, because I talked to a comedian who also went to your high school, and he was in the same class as Nina Dobrev, and he let her cheat off him in a test. And he was like, she was the prettiest girl I've ever seen. And I was like, yeah, she's the main character of a CW show. Like, you don't get that by not being gorgeous.
But she cheated off of him because in their English exam, she asked him what a metaphor was.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which is pretty good. It's
And
like,
this is
it's
in
this,
high
babe,
school.
and this is the metaphor right here.
Yeah,
This
this
is
is
in-
actually it's
yeah.
actually so funny you ask because this is beautiful.
Yeah, this is in also arts high school for stupid people, so it was
and
rough.
she's not like, she reads as happy. She was on the Vampire Diaries, so she's rich, but it's not
She
like I'm
reads as
looking at
happy.
Nina Dobrev and going like, no,
Big brain.
big brain.
That's a girl who's
Where
going
did
to...
Shay Mitchell go? Because I know Shay Mitchell went to TMU.
Yes.
Like
Nina
me.
Dobrev also went to TMU,
Yeah,
didn't she?
they were part of the Ramily.
Ramily.
I don't know what it is now.
Well, you know who
'cause
went to Queens? Elon Musk.
So, you know, lots of big names.
So you got Nina Dobrev. You've got some teen heartthrobs. I've got Elon Musk.
I always think about how the only
Yes.
famous Canadian actors of recent time who have been in like TV shows are the girl who plays Cece in New Girl, Nina Dobrev, and Shay Mitchell. And they're all like women with brown hair who are beautiful. And I was like, oh, I'm not booking. It's not gonna be me.
Okay, that you read a little bit into that. I fear with the brown hair.
Yeah, maybe not the brown hair, but
Oh,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? Like, it's the same kind
You're
of
very
woman.
beautiful.
Well, thank you, but I'm not gonna play a model on a TV show.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
And
Yeah,
that's
fair.
okay. Like,
What about Lauren Ash in Superstore?
that's true. That was a big win.
And Mark McKinney in Superstore.
That's true. That's true. And one of my closest friends is Lauren Ash's ex-boyfriend.
That is true.
And it was a
One of
horrible
my
relationship.
closest friends too.
Yes.
Except he likes me less than you. And that's okay. You're closer.
Yeah.
I don't know
think
why I
that's
made
fine.
that sound so bad.
You made it sound like a normal kind of friendship thing was like a really pointed fight.
Yeah, which I'm known to do.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I more said it just to not encroach on your
My
friendship
sharing thing.
with
yeah.
him and your sharing thing. But I just didn't want to,
Yeah.
you know.
That's true. And Mark McKinney is really funny on Superstore.
He is really funny on Superstar. Who else has been on No, Simu Liu.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Well, he hasn't been on a TV show, I guess.
no, he
and
hasn't
he's
been
a
on-
man.
Yeah, he was in. What was he in? He was in that Marvel show.
Who's a woman who's been in a TV show?
Great question.
I don't know. I can't name a single one.
We don't have a lot of very famous Canadians.
Hey, Justin Bieber.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, Anne of Cleves.
Anne of Cleves, Canadian queen.
Canadian queen, Anne of Cleves. Okay, so here's a recap. Henry VIII. He's king. He's
king.
super annoying.
He's fallen off of his horse at this point, right? And he's kind of
Yeah.
lost his mind.
So at this point he's like 48. Okay,
He's with
So-
Catherine of Aragon. Long relationship.
long relationship,
sees Anne Boleyn.
and he's like,
I
want
want
to
to be with her.
He also hasn't had a son with Catherine of Aragon,
Wants
and
a son.
she's dried up. She's dry. Her ovaries fall out. Like she's done.
He splits the Church of England so he
Yes.
can get with Anne Boleyn. Then he gets
move.
pissed at Anne Boleyn because she's not bearing a son, and also he's very controlling.
Yeah,
So he
kills
beheads her.
Beheads her.
Then he gets with
Jane
Seymour,
Seymour.
who cannot read or write besides her own name.
But
she
he
bears
loves
a
her.
son,
Yeah, and so he's obsessed with her.
but she dies in childbirth.
She dies in
basically. Or like not from
childbirth.
but from whatever baby fever or whatever they called it back then. It's not that, but it's
Yeah,
called
yeah, yeah.
something like that,
Well,
where it's like you give birth as a woman in the past and then die.
They just kind of let you die.
Yeah.
Yeah. The past is rough for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, the past is looking rough.
Oh yeah,
How many babies do you think you could have given birth to in the past before
Zero.
you died? Yeah, I think so too.
0. I would be dead
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah. I
And
think-
it would be the
yeah.
kind of thing of like, because it's also in the past, so I wouldn't have a good husband. Like I would just be like, it would be for land or whatever. It'd be much older.
Yeah.
So maybe the doctor's like, we can save her or the child. And then
And he'd be like, the child.
And he's
the
like,
son,
the child,
the boy,
for sure.
Save the boy.
And I'm like, why are you asking him?
Yeah.
I'm awake.
I'm awake. I'm like, here, please don't do that.
Yeah.
It happens in Bridgerton.
Yes.
Crazy.
But I was actually just thinking about that because I was thinking of Bridgerton. I just pointed you with my toe. That was very horrific. I was just thinking of that.
Okay.
I don't care for that. And I feel bad that I did it. I actually think
a little freaked out.
once we get to the Regency era is finally when I could start eating a bit. Like, I know people are like, and Jane Austen died alone or whatever. But I'm like, that sounds fucking awesome.
Great. Yeah, that sounds great.
To be like a kind of wealthy woman of the past who just has to like stay at your brother's house or whatever because you're not married, so you need a man to support you, but then you just kind of fuck around. Like that seems nice.
Yeah, that sounds great, honestly.
Yeah.
I do think that like people in the past were having way more sex than we think. This
agree.
is my, like, the more we like read into the past and stuff, I'm like, I think that people be fucking. I don't think that like.
No, I agree.
What
I
is
agree.
with this chastity shit?
No, it's the same thing as anything now where it's like there's always going to be like, let's say 20% of the population who's like very open about purity culture and whatever. But then everyone else is like, well, yeah, like I'm not going to air my dirty laundry, but like I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
I do think that a truth of life, and maybe this is crass, I do think a truth of life is that most people are either having way more sex or way less sex than you think they are having.
I think that's true.
And that is, it's proven true in every time I've tested that, which is weird to test it. Don't love to bring that up with people.
But sometimes you got to test it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's true because I think that like sex is very paralyzing. Like the idea of like doing it enough or doing it too much. Like we have too many like ideas about it.
Yes.
Too many preconceived notions about it. So like everything is so secretive so that everything only exists in extremes.
Yes, exactly. Well, it's the whole like also like the sexually active band geek of it all, where it's like the first kids I knew to lose their virginities were not the cool kids.
No, it's the weird.
They were the
it's
little
the
freaks.
Horny. It's the horny freaks.
The horny basement freaks that were like, yeah. And then some of them are married now. Like it's crazy.
That's nuts.
Well, one of them is married
To
now.
get married to anyone in your high school, nothing but love and light to the listeners. I'm sure your relationship is different.
Your
but
relationship
like,
is beautiful.
It's always so freaky to me. I think of every guy I went to high school with, and I'm like, I'm sure that they're good adults now, but like thinking about who they were in high school, I'm like, I don't want to marry you.
Terrifying. Yeah.
I wouldn't want anyone to marry me in high school. Like, you know what I mean?
No.
Like, I was not a good version of myself yet.
I was bad in high school.
Yeah.
I was, you know what I mean?
I was in survival mode. Like, I wasn't bringing a lot to the table. I was
Exactly.
trying to get through the day.
I was trying to get away from the table.
Yes.
In a huge way. So now we've got Henry VIII. He's pretty miserable because he's
Jane
lost the love
Seymour.
of his life. Jane Seymour
Dead
because we don't care about women.
No.
Typical. And so he's in mourning kind of thing, blah, blah, blah. So his next wife after this is Anne of Cleves. So let's do a little background on her, shall we?
Okay.
So Anne of Cleves, she's born in probably 1515.
I love dates in the past.
I love dates in the past. There, you know what? 1515 is pretty certain. It's kind of like between September or June or July, like sometime between the spring and fall that she's born. Spring or fall. Definitely not winter or spring.
So it's like between June and July and September.
Yeah.
Just the way you said it made it seem like it was going around.
I know, no.
I know what you mean. You just switched
Sorry,
it.
I just swapped it.
No,
for
I just wanted to make sure
reason.
that I wasn't having a stroke.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. Does someone ever say something to you and you're like, actually, or like, I think I am actually having a stroke?
Every day, Reese will say a sentence I've never heard before in my life. He has a gift for like stringing stuff, like literally words you've never heard together.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll be like, if I'm really tired, I'll be like, what? I think I'm having a stroke. What does that mean?
Did you ever listen to a song where you can't understand any lyrics no matter how hard you try and you're like, I'm having a stroke?
Yes.
So she's born. She's the daughter of, she's born in Dusseldorf.
Yes.
One of my absolutely all-time favorite place names.
Yeah.
She's the daughter of Maria of Jülichburg and John III, Duke of Cleves. Typical. She has siblings. She's growing up in Cleves, which is in modern day Germany. Yeah.
I always
because
forget
she's of
this.
Cleves.
Yeah, I always forget that it's like Catherine Aragon is Catherine of Aragon.
Yeah, exactly.
And Boleyn is her last name is Boleyn.
Yes. It's so confusing.
Because she's not like a...
No, she's Anne Boleyn. Well,
Yeah.
Catherine, I feel like it's because they're from these places, whereas Anne Boleyn was from England, so she just got to be a Boleyn.
Yes.
But like Catherine was
because Jane
of
Seymour
Aragon.
was also from England.
Yes.
Yeah, this all makes sense.
Yeah.
We're there.
And so then Anne of Cleves was from Cleves. Anna von Cleve in German.
Oh.
So Cleve.
Von.
Yes, Anna von Cleve.
Wow.
That's
I'm
the
learning
German
a lot. I'm really learning a lot like
Von
what von
Cleve.
Dutch means.
Classic of Dutch.
Yeah. It's
So-
okay to admit that you're just jealous of me. The Anne of Cleves.
So it's in the Holy Roman Empire. Epic.
Yes.
Love the Holy Roman Empire. Cleves is kind of like small but important. So it's again like it was a political hotspot, like a lot of these places are.
Yeah. So the marriage is
strategic
the
marriage.
benefit of
Yeah. So she gets an education in Germany.
Okay.
So, like, she learns a lot of stuff about like how to run a household and how to like be a person, but like she doesn't really learn like how to dance and how to sing and like all this like literature stuff that the English girls are learning. It's like it's a different culture straight up.
Yeah. So you're learning different things.
Yeah, exactly. So basically they were bringing her up to like be a German noblewoman.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like only learned how to read and write in German, similar to Catherine of Aragon only learning how to write in Latin.
Yeah, and that's all you need, girl.
They just kind of like dartboard at a language, I guess, at this time for young women.
What's going to be the language that you need? We'll see.
So she's not a party girl at all. She's like, I can set a table, I can speak German. I'm not dancing, I'm not playing music.
No.
She's pretty
As is her right.
Exactly. So not a ton is known about her early life, unfortunately. She's just, but like, it can be, she's got some siblings. She's hanging out.
Yeah, she's vibing out.
Kind of thing. Yeah. So 1537, Henry VIII watches Jane Seymour die. He's like, oh my God, this sucks.
Was that a direct quote? Yeah.
That's a direct quote. He goes, oh my God, this sucks. Also, like, he's had this fall, which has really kind of messed him up. He's also got this like oozing sore in his leg.
Great.
Rocks. It's
awesome.
Really,
brain injury, leg broken as fuck.
Yeah, just like oozing
Can't
sore.
be outside. Awesome. Wife dead.
He's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
48 years old.
Vibes are good. Well, 48, that's a big year for healing.
Exactly.
Like, it's like the older you get, the more you heal.
Yes.
Physically.
Yes.
You fall down, you can just get right back up.
You can get right back up even better than before.
And you're stronger.
Yeah, you're stronger for it. Your bones get harder.
Yeah.
It's like when you shave a new part of your body and the hair grows back thicker and darker.
Yes.
It's like that, but for bones.
But for bones.
It's the exact same way bones work.
Yeah.
So Henry, we know, already has a son. So he's like, I'm great. But he's still kind of like, I need more sons. Because you have to remember. And
They could die. Yeah.
They can die. And he is only king because his older brother died. That's part of the reason he's so weird.
An heir and a spare.
An heir and a spare.
He needs his hot Prince Harry
He needs
vibes.
a spare. He needs a spare. Oh my God. That's why I call this book Spare.
Yeah, because if you read the books, which I did.
Oh my God, he's the spare.
It's like it's really fucked up. Like what that does psychologically to you of just like,
I'm here if my brother dies.
yeah, like to be like, because people, the way that like the world is now, like,
yeah,
they don't do it like they do it because they're like, yeah, we should have it, but they don't do it consciously in the same way they did like this in the past. But people would be like, oh, Aaron a spare, like they do it almost as a joke, which you're like, I'm 9. Why are you saying I'm a spare? I'm 9 years old.
What do you mean I'm a spare?
But
like
also,
I'm only
they send
here
their kids
just
off
in
to
case.
boarding school, and
No,
those kids had not a hope
crazy.
in the world that they'd be normal.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I'm happy for Harry. I feel like him and like I really do feel like Meghan is healing him. Like he just gets to be in like LA or Vancouver and like look at a lake and wear like a leather bracelet and go barefoot on the beach. You know what I mean? Like all he wants to do is like talk about how yoga changed his life.
Yeah.
And he was forced to grow up in like an oppressive English household.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm glad he has some freedom.
Definitely. I think the royal
freak.
family like losing them is one of the most detrimental moves to their like
It's crazy.
To maintaining any relevancy because they're listening to like online trolls who when you watch like I watched like a random documentary about it, like something like 70% of the hate, like if that some place like analyzed hate comments about Meghan Markle came from like 10 accounts.
That's insane.
So it's like it feels like a lot of people hate her, but in actuality it's like a lot of bots and a concerted small amount of people. So I'm like, to lose her when like
over 10
I don't
people.
really give a fuck about Kate. Like I'm happy for her. I don't want her to be sick.
Yeah.
I I want her to be good. But like when I look at Meghan, I'm like, that's my girl.
Yeah.
That's my girl. And I would have I feel like if her and Harry were really integrated into the royal family, there's a chance I could have been way better. I'm into this now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they were always fun. Insane. Harry was always fun. I mean, except when he dressed up as a Nazi.
I thought that was Will. No, it was Harry.
It was Harry.
Oh, damn. Well, maybe he got shot dead at that party or something, Anyway.
Hitler?
Aaron is bear. Hitler. Anyway. So, yeah, at this time, England is still super vulnerable because they're just so religiously divided. Henry's losing his mind.
And when are they not? They're either actively doing war horrors and colonizing half the world or on the precipice of full collapse.
Yeah, 100%.
And we know what era we're in right now.
And it's on top of the world.
They're awesome.
They're doing amazing.
Has been really good.
Brexit rocks.
So excited to see what they do with that.
See what they do with Brexit. So he's marrying for an alliance, basically wants an alliance with Germany, kind of similar to what they did with Spain back in the day. Also because he's kind of at this point, he's I'm still pretty miserable about Jane Seymour dying. Yeah. Which at least there's some humanity there. So he goes to Thomas Cromwell, who's his man in charge at the time, his guy. And he's you got to get me a girl. I want you to go and get portraits done of these two girls in Germany.
Oh.
Yeah. So
this sucks, man. I know the story and this sucks.
It's too bad. So Cromwell's okay, well, Germany also is kind of religiously structured like England. Let's make an alliance with these people, this well-respected family kind of thing.
Definitely.
So Anna Cleves was 23 years old at the time. She had been engaged forever to this guy, the Duke of Lorraine, since she was 11 years old.
Quiche Lorraine.
Quiche Lorraine. He invented Quiche Lorraine.
Well, then, honestly, her life would have been a lot better if she was with Quiche Lorraine as opposed to this
guy to put spinach in eggs.
Okay, I know that he didn't do that.
No, but imagine if he did.
Imagine being the person, you're making eggs.
Yeah.
And you're like,
what if I
wait a second.
Wait a minute.
Wait 1 second. Hold on.
Hold a fucking second.
That's crazy.
No, that's insane. What is this? Also feta cheese.
Yeah,
is that quiche Lorraine and I love quiche.
I'm not a huge quiche person, but I do love eggs. And that's that's tough for me.
Yeah, because
you're not eat.
Because you're kind of vegan or you're vegan.
Yeah, exactly. And I flirt. You can't say vegan because the vegans will get mad. I'm plant-based.
Oh, you're plant-based. Except for egg. They're going to lay eggs anyway.
Well, yeah. I mean, I really do try not to.
You should go to a farm every week and pick eggs from chickens that are happy.
Well, there's a place that I did, I went once or twice. There was a sanctuary. That's a farm just north of Ontario. And you can buy eggs from them for $3 because it's the eggs that a lot of chickens are there because there's a disease that they can get that they recover from. It's a cold, but it makes their eggs blue. So if they're on a egg farm, they can't, I'm just going to say work, but be enslaved there. They can't be enslaved.
Yeah, they can't be enslaved as
egg layers. Slaves, yeah. So they go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But so they'll they can't so the farm will sell the blue eggs because they taste exactly the same. They just look kind of blue.
Are
on
the yolks
outside.
Egg?
I don't remember.
Are the yolks
egg? Yeah.
I
don't know, but
yeah.
I remember going there with my friend Zoe, who's a vegan as well, and she was like, "Well, I eat these.
Yeah, they're blue eggs.
They're fine.
They're blue eggs from chickens with
I don't like to talk about any vegan things because I don't.
It's okay.
It's going to be a big conversation.
Carly's plant-based, not vegan.
I really do think that all perspectives are valid. I think that a lot of times vegans being annoying is a reaction to being aware of horrific things and no one caring. I think that that's a lot of it. But I'm also I'm on your side. Don't be mad at me.
Please don't be mad at me. That's how being on the internet feels a lot of the time.
Yes, that is just what being on the internet is being I'm on your side.
I was thinking about expressing an opinion today to one of my friends that I know was right. And I actually was I know this would become a conversation.
Yeah.
And I actually don't have the bandwidth. So I'm just going to let you be kind of wrong.
There's sometimes you just need to let go and let
I'm
God.
on your side. You know what I mean?
This is exactly it.
Yeah.
Of I don't exactly agree with you, but I see your point.
Yeah.
I love you. And we're all getting there the same way.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'm just sick of having fights with people who I have the same opinions as.
This is what I'm there's people out there doing emotional terrorism to me.
Yeah.
I told you that I brought my crystal to that comedy club and it exploded on the ground. Like,
which is awesome.
Like I brought a crystal to.
I love when my crystal explodes at comedy club.
Literally, like I brought a crystal to a show that was because I was feeling really like weird and I was like, somebody's hexing me, my energy is fucked up. So it's like a specific crystal for like dealing with bad energy being sent to you. And I went there and then went to the bathroom and when I pulled my pants down, it came out of my pocket and it shattered on the ground. And I was like, oh, so I'm being hexed.
Oh Jesus!
And I, in many ways, was.
Carley was having like a week-long premonition that something bad was going to happen, and then
happen.
You were correct.
Like, I'm sorry, I have the sight.
Yeah,
like I have the sight.
I feel like honestly, I get that kind of too in a way where I'm just like sometimes I'll be like, so we all know something bad's about to happen, right? And people will be like, no,
and then a bad thing happens,
and then a bad thing happens.
Yeah,
and I'm like, so are you guys like? Are you okay? Like,
I think a lot of that, like people like to say, like, oh, I don't believe in woo-woo stuff, but I think a lot is also just like being good at recognizing patterns.
Oh, for sure.
Like that's all it is of being like, well, this thing happened. So realistically,
this is
going to happen next. Anyways, continue by Anna Cleves. I want to look up a picture of her because I got to see.
So where was I?
She was engaged to Duke of Lorraine.
But nothing had really come to the match, and her family was like, okay, don't worry, Thomas Cromwell, like she can totally marry the king. Like, don't even worry. And then also like he was just like, okay, great, blah, 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 blah. And then Henry was like, okay, well, like literally I'm actually not going to rely on your word. I want pictures. So he sends
I don't trust you, bitch.
I don't trust you, bitch. I want, but and like honestly, me too.
No,
like, does your friend ever go see like an apartment that like
I'm like show me a video,
like your roommate, and it's like, well, you have to take a video with her. Like, no, trust me, it's good. I'm like,
no,
I need a video.
I don't trust you,
and I need you to test the water pressure.
And I have an open sore on my leg right now.
Open sore on my leg right now, and I'm the hottest guy who's ever lived.
Yes.
So he sends Hans Holbein, who's like the royal portrait dude, whatever. Also an epic German name.
Holbein.
Huge. He's a court painter.
We've been told not to do accents on the German accents on the.
Have we been told not to do German accents?
Have you not read the comments on the Santa Claus episode? They're all really, really nice. But they're all people being like, I'm German and this hurt my ears.
To hear you guys try.
Yeah.
Guys,
and fair.
You know what? We try accents in a world where no one lets you do an accent anymore.
Yeah. And there might be a reason for that.
No.
You're like Adrian Brody doing a Jamaican accent on SNL. Oh, I haven't forgotten about that, by the way. I'm excited to see
crazy.
The Brutalist. I think he's a very talented actor.
It's a little bit crazy.
You can't just on live TV be like, I think I might try a Jamaican accent right now.
For the first time ever tonight while wearing a Rasta wig. Insane. Yeah. So Hans Holbein goes and he gets portraits done of Anne and also her sister Amelia because they're like, well, maybe Amelia's like in the mix too, whatever. So Holbein has taken a lot of portraits. He's painted a lot of portraits.
He's taken them.
He's taken some portraits, and he is like looking at the portrait. Henry also was like, do not flatter them. Like, I want like a realistic portrait. Like, do not make their foreheads longer than they are.
Take her swimming on the first date.
Take her swimming on the first date. Like, do not put her in fake makeup that tricks men.
No. But it's just duplicitous and lying. I also love to hear that. I love that fact of the past of being like, don't make their foreheads look big.
Don't make their foreheads, don't elongate their little pointy nose.
Nosferatu, which we can't talk about. We'll talk about in a later episode. But Lily Rose Depp has my forehead.
Ugh.
And it's really empowering to see. She doesn't give a fuck about it. Like, I was looking at pictures of her afterwards and I was like, this girl is wearing headbands.
Yeah.
This girl is putting her hair up and
trench
back.
coat button to the top.
Yeah, literally. Like trench coat button to the top, headband, forehead out. Yeah. Headband in, forehead out.
I didn't realize that she was dating 070 Shake.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. Her type I can't get a read on.
I feel like she's gay, which is awesome.
Yeah, yes. Because I feel like
if you're going from Timothy Chalamet to 070 Shake, you're gay.
And like, I think it'd be better for her career to be gay. Like,
absolutely. It made me like her so much more when I realized she was. I'm not sure of 070 Shake's gender identity, so I don't want to say.
Oh, I didn't know if they were. I didn't know if.
It seems like it doesn't seem like any.
How do you spell that?
I don't know. It's a 070 Shake. But Lily Rose Depp has referred to 070 Shake as her boyfriend, which is also a really gay thing to do.
I thought this person was a cis man because I've only seen the trench coat button to the top picture.
No, it made me like Lily Rose Depp a lot more.
Yeah,
I was like, I didn't realize
that.
I didn't realize you had that game, Lily Rose Depp.
No, okay, I actually love this way more. I didn't know this.
It honestly, not to be that person, but when someone who I'm kind of on the fence about is like turns out to be queer, makes me like them.
Absolutely. I am like, oh, you're cool.
It's like, oh, so you're awesome.
Yeah.
So where were we?
Get the portraits done.
Oh yeah.
Don't flatter them.
So yeah, don't flatter them. So yes, just like your forehead. I also didn't realize you had a big forehead, honestly. It looks normal to me.
It's the exact kind of thing that everyone has of somebody being like, some fucking menace of a 9-year-old when I was 9 told me my ears stick out.
And now you think about it every single day of your life.
Yeah, but I don't. I think I'm almost fortunate in that the thing that I am insecure about because of that is something that can only really be changed by like invasive plastic surgery only available in South Korea, where I'm like, it's not going to change. Like, I'm not going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
this isn't going to get fixed.
This is just what my face is. That's fine.
So Henry looks at the portraits and he's like, yeah, this girl's hot. Points to Anna Cleves, says, she's hot. Get her over here. Daddy likey.
Daddy likey. This girl is hot.
This girl is hot. So they have a 24-year age gap. Slay daddy vibes.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Baby girl.
And on top of that, they did not speak the same language at all.
That's so awesome for her.
Which is
amazing. I'm sure she's super happy about that.
Yep. And also you have to imagine at this time that like Anna Cleves knows his reputation. He's like,
also, doesn't she want to be with Duke Lorraine? Like,
I have no idea. Like, this girl, she's kind of an icon. I would love to know what she was thinking through all this because like her reputation is really interesting. I will talk about it more, but like she's got a really interesting kind of story. Like it's kind of intriguing. So we have no idea what she was thinking. But she obviously is like, okay, well, like he banished his first wife that was super loyal to him, killed his second one for like vague reasons, and then like gave the other one a baby and then watched her die. Like he's obviously not doing well. Like I'm already on thin ice and I've done nothing. So she leaves Cleves. She reaches England in 1540. And then she was like getting ready to enter her new life. Basically, she was getting ready to go to England. That's got to be awesome. And she arrived in Dover on the 27th of December. And then she goes up to Rochester. I don't really know why I wrote this whole journey down. It feels unimportant. And then she was resting in Rochester a few days before her journey to London. And then they were told her, like, in London, you're going to finally meet the king. And then Henry hears that Anne of Cleves is near. He and like his posse of dudes, they ride to Rochester. So like to surprise her.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, which is normal on New Year's Day. And so he dresses in disguise.
Why?
This is kind of like, and it's like Robin Hood. Like he's doing Robin Hood and the Merry Men. So he dresses up in disguise, and wearing like a cloak. And
why?
Yeah, exactly. And, basically,
this is the first time you're meeting
shit out of her. Exactly.
Yeah, Robin Hood's at my fucking door.
Yeah, exactly. And so basically he comes in.
On his leg.
He's got a sore on his leg and jumps in and is like dancing around trying to like do this like romantic tradition. She's sort of like,
what is happening? What the fuck is going on? I also love like, and this is not, I'm sure German people are all very different. And I think that sometimes
her behavior is so German.
Like, and I think they get a reputation sometimes for being humorless when I don't think that's true. I think sometimes it's just very monotone.
Yes.
Like I've told you the story of when I was in the Frankfurt airport coming back from Berlin and my debit card had stopped working. I didn't have a credit card at the time. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't eat anything. And then it finally started working at the airport. Like it stopped working in Berlin.
Oh, shit.
You know what I mean? But it started working in the airport. So I, tap my card. It goes through and I'm like, oh, thank God. And the woman at the cash is like, gives me a look and I'm like, oh, it just wasn't working and I'm so hungry and now I can finally eat, whatever. Mm-hmm. Not a good joke, but it's just the kind of thing you say to like a cashier to be like, and they're like, oh yeah.
My favorite joke is using my credit card and going, thank God it went through.
Yeah, that kind of
hits
vibe,
every
right?
time.
And then
until people
and I was like, oh my God, I was so hungry. But now I can eat. Then now it worked. And then the cashier just goes, then you must eat. And I was like, Jesus Christ. But like,
just the concern.
I think that it is playing along. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like, even I did the Second City show a couple times and there'd be like German people there and they would truly sit in the front row and not laugh the whole time. And afterwards be like, that was so funny. You're so fun. And I was like, you really? Because I wasn't getting that.
It's just a different culture. Like, it's, you know what I mean?
Yes. So I can imagine also he's doing this. She's not thrilled about it already, but it's also even more just like, actually just deadpan angry.
Supposed to be that she's like, I'm so charmed, and like it's true love because
she's
I've
like, what are you doing?
Surprised me, and she's sort of like, what are you?
Why
doing?
are
And
you
there's
here?
different accounts where like there's some accounts where she just sort of went like, what? And there's other accounts of her pushing him. And I'm like, good. She
Push
also
him.
cannot speak the language.
Men should be lightly pushed.
More men should be lightly pushed. And I've been saying this. So yeah, needless to say, it didn't go well. And she also didn't recognize him because she hadn't seen him. And like, she probably had only seen portraits of him
as
as
a stranger coming into your house. Also, it's the past. So like, surely roving like packs of men just spell your sure murder and assault. Like,
yeah,
I'd be scared.
So she obviously is unhappy. She's like, what the fuck was that? That was actually like fucking insane. Please never do that to me again. He goes to Thomas Cromwell being like, don't make me marry her. I don't like her. She's ugly. And then he's like, you can't ruin our lives.
This would be
Germany
really,
that I
really
worked
bad.
hard on. This would be really bad for the tour.
The what tour?
The world tour. Thank you. So Anna Cleves marries Henry VIII at Greenwich Place on the 6th of January, 1940. Her wedding ring was inscribed with God send me and keep me well, which is a crazy thing to write on your wedding ring.
Yeah. I think we both need to individually really be working on our Bob Dylan impersonations. I think that would be
Mine's gotten really good. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Once upon a time, just so fine, through bumps ground in your prime.
That's good.
Didn't you?
Ooh, okay.
People say, we have to wait till I get through the chorus. You used to laugh about all the kids that was hanging out. Now you don't seem so proud. Now you don't talk so loud about having me scrounging your next meal.
There's a little bit of Janis Joplin in there.
I know. Well, I always
but
go
it's
to
good.
Janis.
It's
okay,
really
I'm working
good.
on it. It's not finished. What's yours?
Oh, it's mine's really bad.
Okay, do it.
Well, it ain't no use to sit on what
That's good though. That's
it's
good.
a read on me where I'm like, I need to get it better because I think it'd be funny to do a Bob Dylan impression.
Should do an episode entirely in Bob Dylan.
It's just Bob Dylan. It's the Bob Dylan and Bob Dylan podcast.
Anna Cleves, she goes over and she marries Henry VIII.
Whoa.
Yeah. When you think about it, man.
Yeah.
Does she even really want to be there?
Partying. Yeah. Have you seen that?
No.
It's like somebody does a Bob Dylan impression and
sings Friday by Rebecca Black.
Yeah. And it kind of works.
Yeah, I can see that.
Partying.
Yeah.
Partying.
Is this your impression?
No.
Yeah, I don't think you're trying hard enough.
No. I got to like shred my voice to do it probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does it feel?
Is this interesting for you guys? Okay, here's my cat as Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan is a cat.
Okay.
Meow, 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 meow.
It's just Bob Dylan having a stroke.
Meow, 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 meow.
Meow, meow, meow.
And then this is all the cats when he's doing this at the Newport Folk Festival. Meow, meow. There's dogs there too.
One of my favorite videos is the Sabrina Carpenter video where she's a little kid and she's like, I got this. I went to animal communications school. Have you seen it?
She's such a Disney kid to me.
No, she rocks, honestly. Anyway, back to Anna Cleves.
Okay.
Sorry, do you want to? Well, you weren't really going all out in your impressions.
No.
You actually
it was
don't
more
care.
just like we were doing something.
Yeah. Oh,
and I think I touched a nerve by lightly criticizing Sabrina Carpenter.
No, it's fine. I'm not mad.
And now we're talking about Anna Cleves again. No, we should.
Don't be mad.
I'm not mad. You're mad.
I'm not mad.
Are you telling yourself not to be mad?
I'm doing amazing right now.
I'm doing the best at this. Give it to me.
So they get married. It's obviously celebrated like big royal wedding. They're so excited, blah, blah, blah. But behind closed doors, the marriage is already crap. It's already gone to shit.
Yeah.
And Henry VIII goes to Thomas Cromwell and he says, I liked her before not well, and now I like her much worse. And they were unable to have sexual intercourse, aka consummate the marriage, because he was disgusted by her. And he said she smelled bad.
Bro, maybe you're smelling your sore, baby.
But like, obviously,
this is the same. This is the exact like same. It's literally the thing of like when a guy comes up to you in a bar and is like, "Hey, baby," and you're like, "I have a boyfriend," and they're like, "Ugly bitch, you smell bad. I actually don't even like you that much. You smell fucking bad."
So yeah, he's like, she smells bad. I don't like her. He has an oozing sore in his leg. It's crazy. So Anna Cleves then asks Cromwell for advice. Cromwell is like frightened of upsetting the king and refuses to talk to Anna Cleves at all. It's just kind of a mess. And obviously at this point, they're all sort of like, oh my God, let's hope this doesn't go to shit the way it has in the past kind of thing.
That's really scary. Like,
it is.
Like, this was a well-known thing. I remember, like, I was doing just a bit, obviously, of research for this podcast, as you do.
As you do.
And I think it was when he was looking for wives at the same time he was looking for Anna Cleves, but I'm not sure. Maybe it was, because he wasn't looking with Jane Seymour, was he? Whatever. He was looking for a wife after Anne Boleyn. I don't know if it was after Jane Seymour when he was looking for Anna Cleves or later or whatever.
He was with Jane Seymour when, like, he was still with Anne Boleyn.
Okay. Yeah. So not that. So maybe it was this time. Mm-hmm. And like one of the women was from Denmark. It was like a noblewoman from Denmark. I want to say it was like Catherine of Denmark, but I also just invented a character named Catherine Pierce at the beginning of this episode, so I don't trust me.
Just love the Catherines. So does he.
And she was like one of the candidates, and she said like no before, like she was like, I'm not interested. Don't send me forward. And she said something along the lines of like, if I had two heads, then yeah, I would do it. Like that kind of thing. Of
She's
being
cool
like,
as fuck.
People know that he beheaded the fuck out of Anne Boleyn, and like obviously people know because it was public knowledge. But like this is before there was like a news fucking paper. So it's like this is
the word spread, baby.
So it would be really scary to be in a relationship with this man who hates you. Yeah, who's already beheaded a different wife he hates. Mm-hmm. And you're like, I need help so I don't get beheaded.
Yeah, like objectively a crazy situation to be in.
Yes.
So she's like obviously upset. Thomas Cromwell wants to figure out how to break off the marriage like immediately because he's like freaking out. Yeah. So in July 1540, Thomas Cromwell, Henry VIII, and other people who were like involved testified to an assembly of archbishops that the marriage was not consummated. At least Henry was like, it wasn't consummated because she smelled too gross. I couldn't touch her and she was disgusting and ugly. And
By the way, I have an oozing sore on my leg.
By the way, I have an oozing, it has nothing to do with the oozing sore on my leg.
And let me say this as somebody who has skin problems. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Nothing but love and light, but those in glass houses should not throw stones. Like, my hands get scaly, but I'm not like, I don't like you. Your hands are scaly. It's like, babe, look down at your own hands.
Look down at your hands.
I have belly button eczema.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so this is nothing. If you're a listener with a sore on your leg, girl, live your life. Yeah. But you're not calling a poor woman who's betrothed to you smelly.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
No, and
this is about the hypocrisy.
It also kills women. It's not so much about the it's not so much about the oozing sore on his leg. It's just sort of like
we're circling around the truth here.
He kills women and is also full of pus. Like it's
pick a struggle.
Pick a struggle. You either get to kill women or be full of pus.
But you can't do both.
Ideally, you just be full of pus.
Many people are.
Many people are full of pus. I'm broken out as fuck right now. I'm full of pus.
Listen.
It's winter. It's hard.
It's winter.
It's a hard time. So they officially annul the marriage on the 9th of July, 1540.
Yeah, cancer season.
Yeah. Woo! And so it was just sort of like that the marriage basically never exists. It was like never valid.
If they never consummated it, then you can get it annulled.
Yeah. So Anne was told about the annulment 3 days before it was approved. They obviously, like, there's no real record of how she felt, but, like, people said that, like, she was quite frightened. Like, she didn't know what was going to happen.
Again, because she's like, am I about to get fully beheaded?
Exactly. And so people, like, obviously were, like, reassuring her, like, oh, yeah, like, he means no harm. And she was like, well, that means nothing.
What did you tell Anne?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what did you tell Anne? You probably told her she was fine, too. She also wanted to keep being queen, obviously. And so she accepted the annulment without a fight. She was like, yeah, I'll just take it. Like, it's good. Also, like, I don't like this guy.
Did she get a payout? I feel like she got a payout.
Yeah, here's the tea. Okay. Here's the tea. So basically we all know that like she's kind of known as like the ugly queen, which is like unfair. It's like, no, she hurt his pride and she wasn't like romantic and fun and dancy and stuff like that. She was like a German noblewoman who didn't speak English.
But she's not ugly.
Exactly. And then they like basically just ran a smear campaign about how ugly she was, even though like the entire, like every report before that was just like, she's fair, she's pretty, she's like just like a young, pretty looking girl kind of thing. Like,
yeah, they're spreading this smear campaign to be like, this is why he couldn't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if anything, she was mocked more for like her accent and her manners and her like style of dress. by like the citizens. It was just like Thomas Cromwell and Henry VIII who were like, she's ugly as fuck. Yeah, they just had no chemistry. They butchered the first meeting. It was weird. And also she was scared because, again, he kills women.
Let's talk about it.
And then probably because he was like grateful for her cooperation, Henry gives her a bunch of stuff, basically. It's like a super generous settlement.
She gets like a castle and money and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. So she was granted the title of the king's sister. She was bestowed with vast amounts of properties, such as King Henry VII's Richmond Palace and later Hever Castle, which was the former childhood home of Anne Boleyn. She also received an annual income of £500, as well as revenue from several of her estates. She was also allowed to keep all her dresses, jewels, and a metal plate.
Hell yeah.
I assume that's armor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess that's true. I was thinking of a plate that is like a dinner plate, but no, I think you're right.
I think it's armor.
I think
or
you're
maybe
right.
it's a dinner plate.
No, armor sounds more real.
Armor sounds fancier, honestly. Yeah. So she writes to her family and is like, I have to stay in England. It's great. Everything's fine, but I'm not coming back to Cleves. And she returns her wedding ring and asks that it be broken into pieces as a thing which she knew of no force or value. And then on the 28th of July, 1540, the same day that Thomas Cromwell was executed, because of course Henry VIII then gets Thomas Cromwell executed. Yeah. He's like, well, I can't trust your ass anymore because you brought me an ugly biatch to marry.
Well, and the thing also is, you know, when they're like, how you get them is how you lose them kind of thing, where it's like if you're with someone because they're cheating on their partner with you and then you start dating, they're going to cheat on you again. Yeah. If you're with someone and they behead their wife,
they're probably going to behead another wife.
They're going to behead you.
They're probably going to behead you and also another wife. So yeah, Anne kind of has like a really interesting, like just kind of like normal life after this. She's really rich. She's a noble woman. She has basically a title of, in all but blood, being like the sister of the king, which is like
a sweet gig.
So she has a place at court. She also develops like fairly close relationships with Mary and Elizabeth, like his two daughters.
Right. Yeah. Because I remember, because I had to read about Bloody Mary after this because I didn't know that was his daughter. And they're really close with her. Like, she helped them like reconcile with him a bunch of times because obviously he sucks, and left them money when she died. The servants really liked her.
Yeah, she's chill.
People loved her.
She also was friends with like Catherine Howard. Like she was friends with like all of like his wives after her. She was like hanging out with. She was like, hey, what's up? There were like rumors that they would remarry, and like there were some accounts that say that like she asked to be queen again, obviously like unconfirmed. Yeah. But she never was, but she had a place at court up until his death, at which point her like estate was kind of just like shrunk, whatever. And then she lived out the rest of her days in like relative peace.
Hell yeah, girl.
After having like poor health. And she died on the 18th of July, 1557 at age 41. And she was the last to die of Henry's wives.
She lived, bitch.
She lived the longest. She's the one who survived.
Who lived. She's like at the end of Hamilton.
Who tells your story?
I got what you always wanted. And then gave me more time.
I raised funds in D.C. for the Washington Monument.
She tells my story.
I speak out against slavery. You would have done so much more if you only had time. And then so
it's been a while. It's been a while
since we brought on Hamilton. Yeah. That was like kind of a deep cut. So Mary, who's queen at the point that Anne dies, has her buried in England at Westminster Abbey. And it's a big pomp and ceremony. They're having a great time. And so that makes Anne of Cleves the only one of Henry's wives to lie in the traditional resting place of England's kings and queens. And her gravestone just says Anne of Cleves, Queen of England.
Queen, yes!
Anne of Cleves, Queen of England.
I love that.
Anne of Cleves. She is my favorite, I think.
Just from what you have said, what you brought me through, I agree. I feel like she is out of all the stories we've heard, obviously Anne Boleyn is iconic as well. Just in terms of, she gets a lot of media. She's self-producing. But I like Anne of Cleves.
It's kind of slept on. The whole thing takes about their whole marriage is 6 months. Nothing ever happens. She gets away with like a fortune, basically.
And a castle, and everyone likes her, and she's fine.
I would literally love to write like a revisionist history movie of just like Anne Cleves' story.
I think that would be so cool.
Because it's just so funny. It's just like this girl just didn't really want to be there.
And it's also, it can be kind of like I forget what it's called, but it's the same thing as like Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead or whatever. Of like, she's just there while like all this shit's going down with Cat Howard and whatever.
It'd be called Cleaved.
I love that.
Yeah, no one, if any of you
Copyright,
take that idea,
copyright.
Okay. And do you have any questions?
No, that was amazing.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's make this tragedy about us. The part of the show where we take the tragedy that we just heard of, which honestly in this case
not that much of a tragedy, all things considered.
Tragic, but yeah. So I would say, how would you surprise the love of your life in the middle of the night?
Oh, great question.
But like it's an arranged marriage. You've never met them before, and you also have to bring 12 men with you. I guess 12 girls because you're a girl.
Yeah,
or men, depends on what you feel.
Okay, so okay, have you seen the 1950s version of the Mickey Mouse costumes?
Yes,
like where it looks like
horrifying.
Teeth.
Yes,
I'd be wearing that.
Yeah, horrifying. Love that.
Just knock. They're all wearing like, all my girls are wearing different versions of like their Donald Duck or whatever.
Oh, it's a whole Disney gang.
It's the Disney gang.
Okay, huge.
Knock on the door with my foam ass hand. And then I feel like that would be great. Just to be like, it's me. And then when I take the hat off, like my hair is so sweaty. Like I'm so hot. Because we walked in the costumes for some reason. We walked like
you just
miles
reek of lead paint.
I'm not, skin is gray.
Yeah. You walked from Disney World to wherever, wherever.
Exactly.
That's
to
really
Rochester.
Good. That's really good. To Rochester. That's
exactly.
Really good.
What about you?
Seasons of Love flash mob.
Oh, fun. Where?
With the OBC. In the bedroom.
With the OBC. But I was in a flash mob. They all walk in with you?
Yes, but it starts slowly. It's like, okay, so
whose
first
part
of all,
are you singing?
I'm just ensemble.
Oh,
yeah,
girl.
Okay, fine. I'm the Seasons of Love soloist.
Great.
Okay, force my hand. Yeah. So it's literally just like they're lying in bed in a hotel room.
Yeah. Okay.
And then like it's like you hear on piano.
It's not a cappella.
No, it's a piano player.
Great.
And whole band.
Great.
And then Idina Menzel walks in.
525,600 minutes.
Daphne Rubin Vega.
525,000 moments so dear. Anthony Rapp.
Anthony Rapp.
525,600 minutes.
And then they all enter one by one. All the OBC. They're all really old now, by the way. OBC was in 1996.
Yeah, they're old. Yeah.
Yeah. They're all like in their 60s.
They're old in the movie.
Yeah, they're old in the movie. Then that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So they're really old now. And then I come out last and I do, you got to remember the love. And then I nail the high C.
That would be really good.
Yeah. And then we just, I leave a brochure of Keith Haring, Act Up, Fight AIDS. And
right. Yeah.
I don't see them till the wedding day.
That's a really strong move.
Yeah.
I feel like that's big pull.
It's big pull.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
They filmed the Star Trek that Anthony Rapp is in, like Brave New Worlds or whatever in Toronto.
Yeah.
And I just remember because Claire McConnell was on that.
That's crazy.
She's like a comedian we know. And she would like go to like baseball games with just Anthony Rapp and she would post pictures. And I remember being like, God,
that's crazy.
I have seen what you have done for other people.
Get me in on the original Broadway cast.
That was a fun one.
Yeah.
A real sleeper hit.
It was a real sleeper hit. You didn't think it would be good, and then it rocked.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it'd be fine because we're here.
Yeah,
we'll chat.
It's fine.
But we've been recording for a long time.
I know.
Not actually physically recording, but just talking for a long time.
Yeah, we gab.
3.5 hours.
We've got the gift of gab.
We really, really do.
No one talks about podcasters need the gift of gab.
Well, sometimes you can tell like somebody has a podcast and then they bring their friend on to be their co-host, but the friend doesn't have the gift of gab.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're just like, that's unfortunate.
A lot of podcasts, they do not have the gift of the gab. I will say they do not have the gift of the gab.
You gotta be able to just talk and talk and talk and talk.
And you gotta have a mentally ill mother who teaches you how to do that because
and speak it.
The way
I
can talk at a brick wall because of jam. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I can do whatever I need to do.
My mother has a new shoulder now and she was like, it's great, I can catch up on every episode of your podcast. And I was like, why would you do that? And she was like, well, you know what? Actually, I won't because I do not understand anything you guys are talking about. It's like, fair enough.
That's good. I famously told you my mother was like, I've got to start listening to like a podcast about the Titanic. I want to learn more about it. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
I can't. Well, when my dad posted that I had a podcast on Facebook and he said, my daughter has a new movie review podcast. Which that hurt a bit.
Yeah. Well, and then when I talked about it on the social and your family was like, Blair's writing a book.
Oh yeah.
We want the book.
My God. Carley went on the social, talked about the podcast. And then my aunt emailed my entire family saying, why hasn't Blair sent me a copy of her new book? To which I said, absolutely. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's such a joy to be making money on the internet sometimes because no one in your family has a fucking clue.
Not a clue.
My mom still doesn't know. Like she kind of knows because she like knows on like she.
Yeah.
But she doesn't really.
No one understands.
No. And for a really long time, people said I had a podcast when I was on YouTube just because older people kind of know what podcasts are, but sometimes they really don't. It's insane.
Yeah. It's fun. And with that.
And with that.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
This podcast has been brought to you by the Sonar Network.